Giorgia Meloni made history as Italy's first female prime minister, breaking through a long-standing glass ceiling in a male-dominated political landscape. Her election marked a turning point not just for Italy, but for women in politics across Europe. Meloni's rise to power is a testament to her determination and resilience. As she navigated a political environment that has traditionally favored men, she began her political journey at just 15, joining a youth wing of a right-wing party and quickly making her mark. Over the years, Meloni steadily climbed the political ladder, earning respect for her passionate speeches and unwavering commitment to her ideals. Her early involvement in politics shaped her worldview and set her on a path to national leadership. Yet, since taking office, global attention has often shifted from her policies to her personal mannerisms. The world's media seems fascinated by her every move, sometimes overshadowing the substance of her work. Instead of focusing on her economic reforms or foreign policy, headlines are dominated by her gestures, expressions, and habits. News outlets dissect her body language and tone, often reducing complex political debates to viral moments and sound bites. Meloni's expressive nature makes her a magnet for cameras, with even a fleeting glance or candid moment going viral. Social media amplifies these moments, turning them into memes and trending topics, sometimes distracting from the real issues at hand. This scrutiny is rarely applied to her male counterparts, raising questions about how we evaluate women in power. Male leaders are often judged by their policies and achievements, while women like Meloni face an extra layer of personal critique. The narrative often becomes less about her leadership and more about her personality. This focus can undermine her authority and distract from the significant decisions she makes on behalf of her country. As we'll see, this is a recurring theme for women leaders, judged not just on their performance but on how well they fit preconceived notions of female behavior. The expectations placed on women in power are often unrealistic and rooted in deep-seated stereotypes. The result? A public image shaped more by personality than political substance. Understanding this dynamic is crucial to appreciating the challenges Meloni and other women leaders face as they strive to redefine what leadership looks like in the modern era. At the 2025 Gaza Peace Summit, Giorgia Meloni stood out as the only woman on the main stage, surrounded by a sea of male leaders from around the world. Her presence was a powerful symbol of Italy's growing influence in international affairs, and she was there to make her mark on a critical moment in global diplomacy. Representing Italy in high-stakes negotiations, Meloni was tasked with navigating complex alliances and tense discussions, all while under the watchful eyes of the global press. She announced major policy shifts, including Italy's willingness to join a UN peacekeeping force in Gaza, a move that signaled a new chapter in Italy's foreign policy and drew both praise and scrutiny from her peers. Yet, despite the gravity of these decisions, the most reported moment of the summit wasn't about diplomacy or policy. Instead, it was a casual, unscripted exchange that captured the world's attention. A conversation about Meloni's well-known smoking habit. Turkish President Erdogan, a vocal anti-smoking advocate, joked with Meloni about quitting cigarettes, playfully urging her to give up the habit. French President Macron joined in, adding to the lighthearted banter among the leaders. Meloni's quick-witted response, I know, I don't want to kill somebody," sparked laughter and was instantly picked up by cameras and microphones, turning a private joke into a public spectacle. The story exploded online, going viral within hours and dominating headlines across Europe and beyond. Suddenly, Meloni's cigarette became the summit's defining image. Instead of focusing on Italy's pivotal role in the peace process, media coverage fixated on her personal habit, dissecting every detail of the exchange and overshadowing her diplomatic achievements. This incident highlights how easily a woman leader's professional accomplishments can be eclipsed by trivial personal details, especially in a male-dominated environment where scrutiny is relentless. For Meloni, a single cigarette became a bigger headline than her country's foreign policy, reducing a moment of leadership to a viral meme. The focus shifted from substance to spectacle, as the world's media zeroed in on the most superficial detail. It's a challenge unique to women in power. Their actions are often judged not just for their impact, but for the headlines they create, sometimes for reasons that have nothing to do with their leadership. The scrutiny of Meloni's personal attributes continued at the same summit, this time involving Donald Trump. During his speech, Trump publicly called Meloni a beautiful young woman, then asked if she minded the compliment. The moment was awkward, putting Meloni, a seasoned leader, on the spot. Her composed smile was analyzed endlessly, while the comment sparked debate about sexism and professionalism. Instead of discussing Italy's diplomatic stance, the world fixated on Trump's remark and Meloni's reaction. Male leaders rarely face such public commentary on their appearance. For Meloni, her looks became a talking point, overshadowing her political acumen. The exchange went viral, reducing her role to that of a woman responding to a man's compliment. Once again, her leadership was sidelined by a focus on her appearance. It's a double standard that persists for women at the top. Meloni's expressive face has become internet fodder, often eclipsing the events she attends. At the Gaza Peace Summit, cameras caught her wide-eyed reaction to Pakistan's Prime Minister praising Trump. The candid moment went viral, spawning memes and GIFs. This isn't new. Her eye roll at a previous NATO summit also made headlines. These reactions make her seem authentic, but they also distract from the serious issues at hand. While Meloni negotiates on behalf of millions, the world obsesses over a fleeting expression. The focus on her facial cues turns her into a meme, not a policymaker. Critical discussions are sidelined in favor of personality-driven narratives. Her authenticity is celebrated, but her leadership is trivialized. The real work, diplomacy, negotiation, decision-making, gets lost in the noise. For Meloni, every unguarded moment risks becoming her legacy. It's a burden few male leaders share. Meloni's experience is part of a broader pattern for women in power, one that stretches across countries and cultures. Despite breaking barriers and reaching the highest offices, women leaders often find themselves under a unique and relentless spotlight. Female leaders are routinely scrutinized for their appearance, emotions, and personal lives in ways men are not. The media and public often focus on what they wear, how they speak, and even their facial expressions, rather than their policies or achievements. Jacinda Ardern's empathy was praised, then weaponized against her as a sign of weakness. Her ability to lead with compassion became a double-edged sword, celebrated in times of crisis but criticized as a lack of toughness when political challenges arose. Hillary Clinton's wardrobe drew more attention than her policy proposals. Debates about her clothing choices often overshadowed her decades of experience and the substance of her campaign. Angela Merkel's hand gesture and practical jackets became talking points, despite her pivotal role in European politics. The focus on her style sometimes eclipsed her steady leadership during times of crisis. These superficial narratives undermine authority and distract from real achievements. Instead of being recognized for their vision and decision-making, women leaders are too often reduced to symbols or stereotypes. Women leaders must constantly navigate a minefield of expectations. Strong but not aggressive, compassionate but not emotional. The line they walk is impossibly thin, with criticism waiting on either side. Their competence is questioned through the lens of gendered stereotypes. Every decision is analyzed not just for its merit, but for how it fits into preconceived notions about women in power. The focus on personal traits is a subtle form of bias that shapes public perception. It can erode confidence in their leadership and distract from the real issues at stake. Even the most powerful women are not immune to this scrutiny. No matter how high they rise, the conversation often returns to their personalities, their families, or their appearance. Their leadership is too often reduced to a discussion of style over substance, making it clear that true equality in politics is still a work in progress. This pattern isn't new. Margaret Thatcher and Indira Gandhi faced similar scrutiny. Thatcher, the Iron Lady, was as much judged for her persona as her policies. She strategically altered her appearance to project authority, but her style was constantly dissected. Media debates about her voice and clothing often overshadowed her economic reforms. Indira Gandhi, too, was defined by her role as a mother, her relationship with her father, and her elegant saris. Her leadership during wars and crises was often filtered through questions about her femininity and family. Both women wielded immense power, yet their public image was shaped by gendered expectations. Their achievements were often viewed through the lens of appearance and personal life. The double standard has deep roots in political history. Male leaders are rarely subjected to the same scrutiny. Churchill's cigar became a symbol of strength. Obama's smoking was a private matter, not a media spectacle. Meloni's cigarette, by contrast, became international news. Male leaders' emotional displays are seen as conviction. Women's, as instability. Men can be gruff or passionate without being labeled hysterical. Comments on male leaders' appearance are rare and usually framed as charisma, not distraction. The standards for leadership are fundamentally different. For men, power is the story. For women, personality and appearance remain fair game. This double standard shapes how leaders are perceived and remembered. It's a bias that persists at the highest levels. The focus on personality and appearance has real consequences. It sidelines policy debates and undermines women's authority. Trivial stories about habits or expressions distract from the work of governance. This scrutiny is exhausting, forcing women to monitor every gesture and word. It's a subtle way of delegitimizing their leadership. As more women like Maloney rise to power, we must judge leaders by their policies or by their quirks. The future of leadership depends on what we value most: substance or spectacle. It's time to focus on what truly matters: the ability to lead and serve.